In this video, we are going to see one astonishing move in the opening. No one could believe Fabiano Caruana, world number 2, played this move with the black pieces. Let's introduce the players. With the white pieces is Radoslaw Wojtaszek, Polish number 2. FIDE rating 2705 and he is 34 years old. With the black pieces is Fabiano Caruana, USA number 1, world number 2 with a rating of 28-23. Radoslaw Wojtaszek has white, Fabiano Caruana has black. Polish number 2 versus world number 2. c4, knight f6, knight f3, d6, d4, g6, knight c3, and bishop g7. Already I'm very excited because it is rare to get the King's Indian at the highest level. Maybe white was surprised because Wojtaszek was expecting bishop f5. Having checked the Chess24 database, Caruana has played this 13 times. The idea is to control e4. So you stop e4, so white might play g3 and then bishop g2, but one way is to actually play this move. Knight h4, you attack the bishop comes back, and then you go e4. e5, the knight comes back, and let's say knight c6. d5, push, bishop e2, bishop g7, and both sides can castle. Bishop g7, I bet Wojtaszek was feeling a bit surprised that Caruana played the King's Indian against him. e4, castle, bishop e2, e5. Here there are many moves for white. Castle, d5, bishop e3, take, which is called the exchange variation. A personal favourite of mine is d5. I like to play the King's Indian as black, but I also play against the King's Indian when I play d4, so I like to play this move d5. This is called the Petrosian system. By the way, on Chess24, Pepe Cuenca, Spanish GM, did a course on it, where he suggests you play the Petrosian against the King's Indian. One reason to play this move is you don't really give black the positions that he wants. After castle, which is the main line, knight c6, d5, knight e7, this is the two-knight setup, where both knights are on the king side, if we consider this side of the board. Both knights can be attacking pieces against the king. But if you play a move like d5 early on, here, then this knight cannot go to e7. Back to the game. Castle played by Wojtaszek. Bishop g4. This is the surprise, sending white into a 5-minute think. White ended up playing bishop e3. When I saw this move, I'm thinking, well, now maybe Wojtaszek is going to play d5. And then it's just a completely different game. The knights can come to c5, the other knight can go to h5 to come into f4. White defended his center with bishop e3. If you take, I don't think there's any problem for black. If the queens come off, you can't do this because everything comes off and black is absolutely fine. This is not what white is hoping for. Bishop is now unleashed. I would say black's even a bit better. You've got two minor pieces, better than white's two knights in the center. Let's say the knight goes back, and then you just keep playing. Knight in. Coming into b4. Got lots of entry squares for the pieces, so this is just not good. Bishop e3. Keeping more pieces. Now this is Caruana's big idea. Giving up the bishop pair in this way. Take. Take in the center, that's the whole point, and then knight c6. That's why you give up the bishop pair. Then you gain time to attack the bishop on d4. You've got to save your bishop. Rook e8. Two pieces on the center. Queen d2. Knight d7. Unleashing the bishop. Ideas, knight can come to e5 to c5 to put pressure on e4 or c4. You can see this cool X in the middle. When you retreat the knight in this way, you can put the knight on e5, c5, give yourself two options. Rook d1. This is the moment which took the chess world by surprise. After rook d1, Caruana just gave up his bishop. What high level preparation this is. Bishop takes c3, queen takes, and now queen f6. Two bishops against two knights. And what does Caruana do straight away? He offers this queen trade. In the game, queen c1 was played, and looking at the time, crikey, white spent 30 minutes playing that move. Imagine what you could do in 30 minutes. Probably watch 3 YouTube videos. Queen c1 played. Can't play trade because this pawn, there's too much pressure here. You can't actually defend this. You got your rook attacking it as well. Knight c5, queen b1, protecting. This is an absolute disaster. You can't take like this because this knight is just going to land on here. Good knight versus bad bishop, and it really is good knight for white. Queen e6, queen attacks both pawns. Rook e1, white actually gives up a pawn. Take, b3, queen c3, bishop d2 and queen back. White sacrificed a pawn, but there doesn't appear to be too much compensation. Now, why did white do that? He had to open up the position for his bishops. Bishop c1 played. Put the bishop on b2 is a dream diagonal, but it can easily be blocked. h5, gaining space on the king side. Bishop b2, knight e5. Bishop e2, h4, gaining more space. Queen c1, g5, gaining control of dark squares. Bishop b5, rook up. Rook e3, queen g6. Bishop e2, rook e8. Every black piece is ready to attack. You've got 2 kingside pawns rolling. Queen c2, knight e6, coming in, knight f4. Bishop f1, c6, planning a break. Queen f2, rook e6, rook c3, d5. Here we go, pawn break. Why break in the center? Because this opens up the e file. After g3, wonderful combination coming up. Take, take. And this is just a wonderful sacrifice. D takes e4 played by Caruana. Sacrificing a knight, because after take, this is with check. So far, black has 2 pawns for the knight and the attack. Block with the queen, taking with the pawn. So, triple pawns on the f-file against a bishop. After this capture, it forces the queen to come off. Take, take with check. King in the corner, and f2, another pawn advance. Another pawn advance. Wow, hang on. Was that... Hang on a minute. That pawn, was that the h pawn? It could have been. h5, h4, g5, g4. Okay, maybe not. No, it was the g pawn. Okay. I thought it was the h pawn. Here, take, and then push. H becomes g. No. The h pawn actually came off. So it was the g pawn. G pawn took with discover check from the queen, then it pushed, controlling these squares. Imagine if it was the h pawn, what a journey. But it's the g pawn. f2, cool move, controlling this square. So rook g1 is a real threat. Bishop h3 played. By the way, it is still possible to muck this up. In this position, it looks like you got your rook here, cutting the king off. If you can play king up and then rook h8, it's just a double rook checkmate. It's always possible to mess up in chess. If you play king g7, there's a great move to stop this move, rook h8, and it's because this bishop is now alive. Can you see this amazing move for white? Pause the video now or let the timer run. 5 seconds. The amazing move is rook f3, ouch. You can't play check because you can just block. Crikey. Bishop h3, getting the bishop out because then this rook defends that square. Yes, that's true. So, for example, if you played rook h3 to defend, I think that's mate. Yeah, that's a cool one. Knight g4 mate. Pause the video now or let the timer run. Can you find a brilliant move for black? 5 seconds. This rook is in the game. You need this rook to be in the game. And what better way to do that? To get the knight away in style. To give the knight away in style so you can put it on a cool square. And knight c4 is that square. If you don't take the knight, you're going to grab the bishop. But this is a stronger threat. Rook e1, forcing a queen. So knight c4, and it's over. It's all over, man. Rook takes c4, check. Here, white resigned. If you take, it's just a queen, and it's a nice mating too. You put the queen here. If you don't take, you're just going to be losing. Rook takes d1, with a queen coming next. You can't stop it. Okay, yeah, let's finish that off properly. Rook takes d1. Because chess is never over. You always have to calculate. After rook f4, I think you queen now. Or you go rook d2. I think rook d2 is better because you just keep the pawn. You don't need to queen. Because after this, check, and you win the bishop. So what I'm saying is, just to be even more accurate, you go rook d2. Then you have to block, and then you lose the bishop. By the way, this is a cool one. If you attack it, you just go discover check. And you can't take the queen. So you take the rook, and then we have mate. Really cool finish from Fabiano Caruana. Time for a quiz. Just a short one today. Castle was played. Do you remember what Caruana played in the opening? He didn't play the normal move, knight c6. d5, knight e7, this is the main line. What did Caruana play? 5 seconds. He played bishop g4. White has just played king h1. Can you tell me what's wrong with king g7? Oh, for goodness sake. Let me do that again. What? White has just played king h1. Can you tell me what's wrong with king g7? 3 seconds. Black wants to play rook h8, mate, but it doesn't work. Chess is so cruel, you always have to calculate. Rook takes f3 is a brilliant defensive move. Check, and you can actually block. And white is the one who is winning. And for the final moment of the game, bishop h3 has just been played. What brilliant move did Caruana now play? 3 seconds. Get the knight out the way, knight c4, clearing the path for the rook. That's it, game over. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, why not give it a like and subscribe to the channel at the same time. Make sure you press the bell, then YouTube will let you know when I release a new video. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you later.